What do you get when you put an ex-Call of Duty pro in a Valorant lobby? Scump has made the switch to Valorant. It's time to see if his Call of Duty skills have what it takes to be able to take on the higher ranks in Valorant. In this video, we're going to be looking at crosshair placement, common mechanical issues, and also positioning and understanding game sense. It's going to be a video for everyone, so if you're looking to rank up, take a look and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Alright everyone, the first thing we're going to look at with Scump's gameplay is the comps, and the first thing you're going to notice is Scump has chosen on Ascent Clove. Now the issue with Clove is that obviously Clove is a newer agent and people want to play them, but the problem is that Clove is not nearly as powerful as an Omen, and for the one simple reason of having Omen Paranoia. Omen Paranoia is incredibly powerful on this map, primarily because it helps for site executions. In this comp, we do have a jet that wants to scale into site. Now obviously the Clove can place their smokes in the common places, but the Paranoia takes so many lanes away that could be a threat for the jet as they're going in. For example, the line on generator, or if they wanted to scale up tree, the line right here for tree room, which can easily take away a lot of lines and allow for jet to now scale up off of that Paranoia. There's also plays on defense where you could place your Omen Paranoia down this line to be able to take care of people pushing up on A main and allow it to set play with the jet again, working that combination, or something as simple as going towards B main and being able to flash an operator off of the angle like this. With Clove, you don't have that advantage, so this is going to be one of the bigger complications playing this map, and that's why Omen is such a powerful choice on this option. I do want to discuss a couple of common things I see as an issue in some people's gameplay, and there's arguments for both sides when it comes to the minimap. But if you look towards the minimap, you can see that half of the minimap is cut off. The reason for this is that Scump has a setting where he keeps players centered. Now there are advantages and disadvantages. The advantage is that you can have minimap refragging, which is basically aiming through your minimap, which makes it a little bit easier to spam through smokes and whatnot. However, you can drain yourself out of this with not being player centered on. You can do this player centered off using the center of your minimap rotating off there. What this does is it allows you to now be able to rotate the minimap and get information and see the entire thing at all times. When we don't have the map completely visible like this, it can become incredibly difficult to be able to get information at certain points, and even on the bigger maps such as Breeze, you might not see anything going on the other side of the map at all. So taking player centered off typically is one of the better moves you can do when it comes to actual settings to be able to get information for your team. So the first thing that I noticed right away, and this might be just like a console transitioning to mouse hand kind of thing, the sensitivity is a little bit questionable when it comes to Scump. If you notice his crosshair here, he's kind of got this flicky motion, which makes me feel like he's picking up his mouse hand quite a bit. You can see there's a little bit of like this, for example, right there, where he kind of like separates it and then goes over there. So it could be a sensitivity issue. I see he is moving quite a bit, but his arm is placed onto the pad, so I can't see it being a wrist aiming issue. Usually you see this with just wrist aimers. So something here is telling me that he's picking up his mouse a little bit too much, and it'll make it really difficult to clear angles, such as this one right here. So see how he constantly flicks like he was over here, here, and here as he's going around. It's not a very smooth motion, so having a sensitivity adjustment might be beneficial for Scump in this situation. If you ever notice yourself picking up your mouse quite a bit and kind of moving across there, usually that's a sign that you need to have either a grip adjustment or maybe include the forearm a little bit more into the desk to move things around a little bit more to be a bit more smoother. But usually the wrist aiming, and typically in a tactical shooter like this, can be very inconsistent. And now we've come to our first major mistake, and that's planting the bomb on default. I can't stress this enough. If you have bomb site control, you can always determine this by two things. The first one is, do we have back lane control? If we do, which we do in this situation, we keep the enemy in front of us at all times. That means they can't be behind us, so we can plant more open because we know where the enemy's coming from. The other option is if you get 2 kills on site. So in this situation, we definitely had backlane control. So planting a little bit more open creates more opportunities for you and your post plan to be able to control certain areas of the map and be able to still be able to see the bomb site, or be able to see the bomb, and prevent them from having an easier defuse. The more open it is for them on the bomb site in any certain situation, makes it really difficult because it takes 7 seconds for them to defuse the bomb. On your end, it only takes 4 seconds to plant the bomb. So you're really only going to be in that dangerous place for a very short amount of time. So now we're in a 1v2 situation, and the plant isn't for anything in particular, so that limits the options of where Scump can play. So what I would recommend in this situation, being that there is a smoke active, looks like he's going to be throwing a smoke towards CT, which is a standard smoke. It's fine. But if you save this smoke for yourself on site and play from the boathouse itself, you can actually peek in and out, individualize the fights, and then after you get one fight, you can throw another smoke down onto site anywhere really and play in and around it, which can make it really, really awkward for that last person in that 1v2 situation. So great way to isolate fights, even in a 1v2 situation, is playing boathouse. It's the power position on the map. It stalls out for time, and every second that you burn on the clock makes it easier for that bomb to be explode and for you to have the right results in the situation. Let's see how he plays it. Isolates a fight this way. We're lucky that there isn't a double swing. Normally in higher ranks, you'll see two people swinging out the smoke at the exact same time. That means this Yoru is out of position. So we can definitely fall back to boathouse in this situation right here.
Good flank. Play home. Play.
So a bit of a mistake here. This is where I definitely have the mute key, because we have our teammates just talking their heads off and really none of it's good information ever, really. So this is definitely an opening for a mute key for sure for a team clutch. At this point here, he's playing outside of boathouse. It would be way, way easier for him if he did fall back into boathouse right now and just isolate the fight. So he hears him over here. Looks like it's going to be a clone. Clone's taken away. Flashes come from behind, so there's a chance they could have teleported behind, but it looks like he's going to be right in front. And now we're in a spot where he hits the bomb tap. So it's going to get a little bit awkward as now he doesn't know where he is. So we have two options. Being that we do have a silence weapon right over here, you can take shots in the relative area of where the bomb is planted. So we do see it on the minimap, easy to be able to time it out with the minimap and line it up. Just a couple of taps in the crouch position of where a head level would be, which probably be right around this area right here. Would be perfect for him if he just goes across and tap, 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 tap. Probably ends up getting a frag or at least gets him off the bomb. Now the other option he has is that he has 3.5 seconds. This is a point in time in which the bomb will be half. Now typically in this rank, being that it's about immortal give or take, you would see a player hit that 3.5 then to get off and tap again. The reason why is it becomes a higher tone when you hit that defuse button. So it makes your opponent have to kind of force the situation or even move up in that spot. So in this situation, if you get the 3.5, tap again as you are the Yoru, and that will probably pull the clove into you. So if you count out in your head about 3 seconds, by the time the 3 seconds come up, you peek into the smoke, you're probably going to be able to find that person on the bomb because they're going to be committing to that half that point, in which time you'll probably end up winning a gunfight because they'll be transitioning from the diffusing equipment to actually shooting back at you. So let's see what happens. 1, 2, 3. So give or take, that was right around the time that we needed to be. We did miss one vital piece of communication, so listen to this. So the team actually calls that he's off. And the reason why he calls it off, listen to this. One step. Right after the defuse, there was one mistaken step. So that gave it away right away. And that could be a difference maker here because of how much time is left on this bomb.
No, man.
So we do lose this one, but how close do we lose it by? Let's take a look at the timer.
Oh my.
0.49. So had we taken in that little bit of information, that little step that we just missed right there, that could have been the difference maker between winning and losing this round. And it's really that close when it comes to this kind of rank.
God. Fuck! Did you hear him walking? I didn't hear him.
Yes, I heard him walk out.
Yeah, he literally just said he's off.
Yeah, dude, like, right as I went through, though.
Oh, that's copium.
No,
Right as I went through. This is what we call in coaching the victimhood fantasizer. Now, the victimhood fantasizer is about finding things to blame and not taking extreme ownership. Now, Scump knows this very well, and I'm hoping that he catches himself later on, because this kind of thinking will lead you on the path to a fixed mindset where nothing that you do can ever be wrong. And the problem with that is that it's not growth. It's not the ability to be able to find the solutions. You're being excuses focused. I often say to my students, you must have 100% responsibility, 0% excuses in all things. And this will allow you to constantly grow and find solutions rather than excuses to your problems.
Fuck! Oh my god, why do teammates always make me tweak on this fucking game?
Here's the thing. As you go further and further down this mindset, you get deeper and deeper into a spiral of darkness, right? And it just becomes worse and worse. It clouds your judgment. And the more angry you get, the less likely you're going to be accurate with holding your mouse, as 80% of your fine motor control goes completely out the window when you get angry or frustrated. Any kind of emotion can really shape that up for you to make it worse for you. And also, you got to think about how many times have I made a really, really good decision when I'm angry. And you probably can't list a number off your head because it probably doesn't happen at all. So every time you do this, you distract yourself and you make things worse for yourself. You'll notice that your aim goes out the window. You'll notice that your decision making is nowhere near where it's supposed to be.
That's on me, but fuck, man, that's on me. Fuck, dude.
That's a good realization there from Scump. He did take ownership in this situation. That's the best way to deal with it. Take extreme ownership. The problem is that he's already down in the hole. So how will that affect this next round?
Not a...
Already, you can see the effect of this. This could have been an aim thing, it could have been a cross replacement thing, but you were definitely not mentally ready in this moment, Scump, and that's because of the emotional outburst you had. And I know that you know this being a professional player yourself. It's something to keep an eye out for and keep remembering.
Yo, you just walked out through smokes?
Like
Smokes?
I
No?
never left.
Last player standing.
My turn.
I was planting the bomb, brother.
Nice.
Oh shit. Oh, that could have been good. Okay, so this could have been an issue where it comes to planting the bomb. Now, when you plant the bomb, where should your eyes naturally be? Well, you're in what I like to call passive mode. The light switch method has 3 modes in it. The first mode is active mode. Now, if you're in active mode, you're likely going to be taking a fight, pretty much 100%. This is when you're being aggressive into their spawn, for example, which you shouldn't really do, but you know that you're going to be taking an active fight, maybe attacking the bomb site, for example. So going in through here, you will be most likely taking a fight, so if your eyes are anywhere but on your crosshair, you're probably throwing. Now, the next mode is going to be sentry mode. Now, sentry mode is when you're like 50-50 going to be taking a fight. You might be peeking in and out from an angle, be it an on angle or an off angle, and this is where every time you fall in behind cover, you can have the freedom to be able to look towards your minimap. Every time you look back out or peek back out, you should be looking towards your crosshair. And the last one is passive mode, and that's exactly what Scump is doing when he starts planting the bomb, because in reality, you can't shoot back at anybody. So what you should be doing when you're planting the bomb going forward here is looking directly to the minimap. Now, as you can see, as we're planting, Scump is actually doing this very well. So he's looking directly towards the minimap. He's picked up his eyes away from his crosshair and now looking at the situation at hand. So because of that, we now know what the issue is. He is actively looking towards all the information, flicks his eyes to the left, flicks his eyes to the right, sees that there is something going on in the kill feed, knows what's going on in terms of the number situations, collected all the information as he's planting, because there's no sense looking at a crosshair here. And then what he's going to do is he's going to peek out without utility. He knows very well that there's someone up onto the heaven angle. So what should you do in difference? You should always lead with utility first. His option here would have been to throw the metal. Could have been thrown off this wall that would have landed here and potentially weakened anyone onto heaven before he decided to peek out. This angle, then this angle. He swipes out really close to the wall and makes it a flick situation where he has to go towards the clove, which makes it incredibly difficult. In this game, it's all about crosshair placement and positioning that trumps flicking and raw adjustment altogether. So a great raw adjustment here, but then decides to play in the post-plant position that I hate. This is a position on the map that you should never ever play. And the reason for it is that when you're playing on the left side of Gen, you may see Odins being blasting through this line. You may see darts scanning you. You may see omen paranoias, as we've talked about, down this line. You're pretty much asking for death by playing in this area altogether. So really, when you're planting the bomb, the only options you have is to play inside here under hell or get all the way to main. Those are the best options. Obviously, dice can be worked on too, but you have problems where you can get jumped down on from heaven and also be hit from tree room at the same time. So the two best spots, definitely without question, is hell and A main. And now we're in a very similar situation to pistol, only it's 4v4. So now we have to play very smart here. This is where an up-down is really, really powerful. Now an up-down is a setup where you have someone playing on boathouse, and the other player is going to be playing next to the sight box. Now the reason why this is a powerful position is that one person will crouch, so that'll be this one right here, and the other person will be playing towards stairs. Now this one will be standing, obviously. Now the counter to this is going to be the opponent throwing a smoke such as this one on this area. That isolates that fight for them. Now if that smoke doesn't get thrown, which in most of your ranks you won't see that, it's a perfect setup because if they decide to come through lane, they'll have to jump down eventually and that will make sound, which triggers both a swing from either side to be able to isolate that fight very simply. Okay, if they don't go through there, there's no reason to even look at it. This angle isolates from that spot, they can't see you. It's just a matter of looking towards stairs and killing them from there. So it's an easy way, and you'll see a lot of pros playing this to be able to win easy post plants in this situation right here. Let's see how Scump plays it. So being aggressive in this situation is not called for. I call this mistake DINT, otherwise known as do I need to. Now a lot of you guys are driven by frags, and I can't say enough that frags are completely overrated, especially these later frags. These frags are less impactful, and they also don't add to your RR at the end of the game. Now a lot of you will have this misconception, MVP in order to get more RR. This is going to be further from the truth. The way that you gain RR is purely through wins, and the other one is performance against the opponent. So for example, if you're performing well against a Radiant and you go 4-0, that's going to look more kindly than you going 4-2 against them. So sometimes these fights right here that you take can actually be more detrimental than you just going for the straight win condition, which would be to play in the boathouse in this situation.
That's your market. Nice, you did it.
I don't know what's on side. There was CT attack. Nice.
Finally, a Phoenix that knows how to throw a freaking wall. I haven't seen this in a while.
Standing ahead. Reloading. Careful now.
Don't do it. Don't do it, Scump. It's 5v3. Just chill. 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 Stop. 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 Do I need to? It always comes down to do I need to. I don't know what's driving. Maybe it's the fact that he's a content creator now. He's just going for clips and that's all fine and good. If you're going to do this kind of thing, at least tell your teammates you're going to do it so that they can support you. Maybe they can throw a silver dart in for you. Maybe they can ult certain lines for you. Maybe they can throw a turret down or a smoke to be able to avoid some of these angles. For example, imagine you smoke this off. Now you don't have to worry about 1, 2, 3 particular angles, maybe even 4 in the situation that you could be swinging into unknowingly. So again, do you need to take these fights? Definitely not. And you're risking a lot of rounds by playing like this. So be mindful when you're watching pros or you're watching content creators for inspiration on how you play situations. A lot of times you'll see these players playing for content or doing things that are kind of silly that you should never replicate in your own games.
Come on, come on, come on.
Like how, bro?
Okay, so why does this happen? It's so important at the beginning of every single round to assess, not guess. If you're not assessing, you are guessing. And the way that you assess is simply by pressing your tab key. Now, when you press your tab key, there's specific things you need to look at. If you look towards the enemy economy, you notice lack of money. Now, there might be a possibility of a potential hero buy here from our chamber. But other than that, we have 4 broke bitches on the other team. So what does that mean? Typically, the broke team is going to go towards the closest range fights possible. Well, typically on eco, mid fights are usually going to, or mid pathings are usually going to be the ones that people will go to by default. And the reason for that is that there's usually going to be ugly fights down these mid paths. So when you go down a mid path like this, you are forcing both close range fights but also ugly fights, which is exactly what you want as an equalizer against a team that has superior weaponry. So what ends up happening is Scump decides to go forward into this position right here, obviously with Clove, not with Jet. And this right here allows for an isolation on his positioning against close range sheriffs. So flashes and different utility is now thrown into Scump, which makes it incredibly difficult to be able to defend that position. What should have been done off this tab key is to assess what our biggest threats are, where the longer range fights, how do we maintain distance away from the enemy, and use our tools to our advantage against the enemy. I would have played towards a main here, played on site, or at least had some distance on a place like middle, for example, or some place where it would have been a little bit easier to avoid closer range fights, such as this ugly dumpster fire that we see right here. Just remember that close range fights against eco is not our friend. Find the distance, use your tools correctly. Transitioning games can be a very difficult task, especially for someone who plays Call of Duty going into a much more slower paced game such as Valorant. If you like this content and you want to see more from Scump and his journey, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.